What is up, my boxing beetles? We are back for another fight night. This one has got some welterweight implications. This fight was supposed to happen like 8 million different times, and they finally got it booked. It was never supposed to be the main event, at least I don't think so, but it's found its way to the apex. Our veteran legend, our welterweight legend, Gilbert Burns, is going against rising star Michael Morales. Michael Morales' first opportunity to get a crack in the rankings. Hi, this is your editor speaking. I refer to Michael Morales as unranked. He is number 12. So, the analysis and whatever else in the video stays the same, so we're just going to leave it. But every time I say that he is, fighting for a ranking, please, oh my gosh, I don't know how that happened, but ignore that, please. Let's get to know everybody and what they've been up to, give it a little dynamic breakdown. Here we go. They had this fight booked all over the place. It was supposed to be Miami, Kansas City, Montreal, and now we're in the Apex. Great, that's exactly what I wanted. No, it's not. Could we please stop? I would love to get a lot less if we could have no Apex. That'd be really great. Our co-main and main event have a very similar story of a very established veteran going against an up-and-comer. A little bit different, but cut from a similar cloth. Michael Morales is still currently undefeated, and he is 5-0 in the UFC, so is definitely on the way to really proving himself. And Gilbert Burns is for real. We already know this. We already know Gilbert Burns for real. I think Michael Morales is for real, but that test is still being determined. And also on our agenda, we have Melky Costa making a quick turnaround, going against his opponent making a quick turnaround as well. And Jared Garden is back after a couple of canceled bouts. This is going to be a really good one. First up, we have our prelims, which for me will be taking place approximately around afternoon tea time. First up, we have a very fiery matchup between Tiny Tornado and the Lioness at women's strawweight. Tisha Pennington, you may know her formerly as Tisha Torres, is a former Invicta star back in 2012 through 2013 and made her way to the UFC via the avenue of tough. So she is an absolute veteran. She is a strawweight pioneer. She's been doing taekwondo since the age of 3 and then transitioned from there to karate before then going to kickboxing. And she is very, very durable. Throughout her career, she has never been finished, and right now is coming off of a win against Carla Esparza. Overall, you can find Tisha on that decision grind. She often beats her opponents through just having such a voracious output, which I think is a big reason why she's the favorite right now. She's faced a lot of greats, so many of her losses come to people who have gone on to have great success. So she's not losing to scrubs, and that's why she holds that number 13 spot. She's got a double major in criminal justice and sociology. That's a great combo. And her mom is her hero. So martial arts for her was definitely an outlet to make do with the rough and tumbles of life. Find somewhere to put your energy. And if there's one slogan that Tisha Pennington lives by, it's punches and bunches. So yes, that output is often how she overwhelms people, and the tiny tornado is a great nickname for her. And there is her and Raquel pictured in the corner, one of the few UFC power couples. And she'll be going against Luana Piniera, holding that number 14 spot. So both just kind of fighting for the toss-up here. She hails from Dana White's Contender Series back in 2020 and has had a bit of an up and down in the UFC, 3-3 so far. She's got a BJJ and judo black belt, so you'll see her trying to throw in the throws. And she comes actually from a judo family, so was raised with martial arts in her blood. And she's definitely a submitter, but it's been a while since she's actually landed a submission, but she's definitely has that. And she likes to lead her fights with the jab / left hook with the left hand in general. And she does a lot of lateral movement, a lot of confusing stuff. Kind of hard to get a pin down on her, and she kind of tricks people into the takedown that way by having them walk in. They come and they walk in, they try to get her. Doesn't really work out, but she is on a 3-fight losing streak, so that is unfortunate, but was actually on like a 10-fight win streak prior, so definitely in need of some momentum, but has a lot of skills in her arsenal as well. she's coming off of a strange loss to Julian Robertson. Strange in the sense that there was an elbow to the bum. But anyway, I suspect that this one will be a very energetic, a very exciting start. Both ladies are known for having a pretty high output of strikes and a lot of forward pressure. I expect Tisha to be walking down and Lana to be trying to evade her using that lateral movement, that quirky movement. We'll see if Tisha can pin her down. If she can pin her down, I think people are thinking she can get it done. That should be an exciting start. Next, we have a men's flyweight fight, Peace of Mind versus the Headhunter. Peace of Mind, Hyung-Sung Park rolling in with the undefeated gift and curse, as I would like to put it. Peace of Mind, that's a very interesting nickname. I like that. I like the vibes. You know, he's a double GFC champ, then gone road to UFC, so a little bit of a journeyman in that sense. UFC in 2023, and he's 2-0 so far. He always is training for the decision win. So if you ask him to articulate on his own style, he's always thinking that he's going to have to grind things out to decision, which I think that makes sense with that peace of mind. The peace of mind, okay? He's not overzealous. He's not going in there hunting for the finish, but he actually gets the finish often anyway in his 9 fights, in his short but illustrious career. And he's coming off of a performance of the night liver shot win. Okay, so we know the man has power. We know the man has power. Body shots, although obviously a different story. Great timing, of course, is at play there, but happy to see it. He's had 2 canceled bouts since then, so that was actually in 2023. So a really big thing with this fight is just going to be seeing how he's dealing with the layoff. And you should be seeing a lot of chopping of the legs. He's a little leg chopper. And he's going against Carlos Hernandez, who's had a bit of mixed success in the UFC, 3-3 after being an HFC champ and going on to LFA for a brief moment and making his way through the Contender Series. Shout out Chicago, love to see it. He's a sub or decision winner, so he's actually never gotten a TKO or KO finish in his professional career, so we'll be looking out for that possibility. And he's coming off of a split decision win right now and then previous decision win after that. You'll see him doing a lot of head hunting, a lot of aiming for the head, his primary target for sure, and he's got a sports management and marketing degree. So that is fun. We got 2 flyweights who are coming in with a bit of limited experience, but Carlos a little bit more so, still paving their way though in the UFC. Then we have a women's strawweight bout with Lady J versus D. Elise Reed just reminds me of a G.I. Joe character, so that's why we went with that, because she is a tough Army Reserve chick, a CFFC champ, gone Bellator, made her way to the UFC in 2021. She is a Taekwondo black belt, and you'll be seeing her mixing in the kicks for sure, though we leave a lot in the hands. She actually owns Kickside Martial Arts, which is really cool, sharing her knowledge through the value of instruction. And you can often see her on that decision grind is how she gets a lot of her wins. She's coming off of a grindy decision win over Penne, and that was pretty good fight to see because a lot of adjustments were made. That first round didn't really look like it was hers, but then she tightened things up and she found the opening, and she keeps a lot of that work, like I said, in her hands, always looking for the right hand. So the right hand has a lot of power. You'll see she uses it as a counter strike, her right hand, a lot. She's a big counter striker as somebody who likes to keep things in the boxing area. And she has a civil engineering degree, which is what she puts to action in the Army Reserve. So that is pretty cool. You can see her and her wife pictured in the corner and her adorable cat. She'll be going against a younger opponent also who keeps it a lot on the feet. Denise Gomez, D, an Invicta star, found her way to the UFC through Dana White's Contender Series in 2022, 4-2, so it's been looking good, still making her way. She has a tattoo on the front of her neck, which indicates that pain is a hobby. She's a barber on the side, very talented at that, on a 2-fight win streak right now, so we're 4-2, but those losses are long gone behind us. And Denise, she definitely prefers the finish via TKO or KO, not much of a subber. And also, like her opponent, Elise, she's looking for the right hand as well. So you will see both of these women have a lot of power in that right hand. What you'll see a little bit differently from Denise is that she's going to throw in that clinch work with a little bit of a Muay Thai background. But both these ladies are all about respect, and we'd love to see that. This should be a pretty grindy exchange. I suspect a lot of this fight, if not all of it, to stay on the feet. Then we have a women's bantamweight fight with Shooting Star versus the Thai Panther. Luana Santos has never been finished in her 8-2 career. She's a BJJ black belt who uses it. She is a submitterina, 50% of her wins coming via submission. And her current loss that she's coming off right now is to Casey O'Neill, who is a real dog. Like, that is no shame. And before that was on a 5-fight win streak. So definitely has a lot of skill, but still testing the waters as far as how that holds up to the top level ladies in the bantamweight division. She's previously dealt with some thyroid issues that have hindered the weight cut. And she loves to dance. She'll be going against the Thai Panther, a handful of years her senior, and a two-time Muay Thai champion, so she will be using a lot of that. She is 2-0 in the UFC, so still making her way, but on a 5-fight win streak, so similar to her opponent before her last loss. Tonara Lisboa is definitely a Thai Panther, not only just a 2-time Muay Thai champ, but she uses a lot of clinch work in her fights as well. So you will see a lot of strikes of hers landed in the clinch. She has never been knocked out, so showing some of that Muay Thai durability, and she is always smiling. You can always see her casting a beautiful, lovely smile wherever she is. She is one tough sweetie. We got two really durable ladies, both of which have never been knocked out. Then we have a very exciting featured prelim, The Flash going against Winter Soldier. Jared Flash Gordon is so hype. He found his way to the UFC in 2017 after being in CCFC, and he's currently coming off of a loss to Hakpasharat. Split loss though, so definitely a war, but it's been really unlucky in between them. We've had 2 canceled bouts, so we have not seen Jared in a while. We really miss him. So glad to finally have him back. We almost got him and then it was canceled again, so we are here. He's a decision grind type of guy, but you know he's going to be putting on that output. 55% of his wins are found via this way. I think that he actually won his fight against Patty, so he's had a lot of weird fights lately. Not really a subster, not really living in the sub world. You can find him chasing his opponents with that ground strike. So, hit him, follow it up with some ground strike chasing. And he is a role model, okay? If there's something to know about Jared Gordon, is that he died legally. Okay, he died legally, and now he fights in the octagon. He has absolutely turned his life around. But not only has he turned his life around, he serves as an outlet, as a role model, as someone people can reach out to who are struggling themselves with things like addiction, and he's there to offer a hand, and he continues to do great things outside of the octagon. We'd love to see it. Cute thing about Jared is him and his wife actually met in the 1st grade. That is so cute. He is a Queens guy through and through, and we're really glad to have him back. And he'll be going against Thiago Moises, who is definitely making his way in the UFC after being an RFA champ. And he is an absolute BJJ threat. I mean, we're talking gold medals. This man is nasty on the mat. And he's also mixing in that ground attack, of course, but he wins in every way. That's the thing about Thiago, is he doesn't only rely on his submissions, he can do it all. And he's very charismatic, so you'll find him as an analyst for UFC Brazil. We'd love to see that, and congratulations to him and his wife, who will be parents. He's going to be a daddy soon. He'll be representing American Top Team and the Fighting Nerds, so this Kill Club American Top Team kind of rivalry fight, it's going to be really cool. This is a perfect featured prelim because it will be very high level. This one is super high level stuff, and we're very glad to have Jared back. We have then made it to the main event, which will be taking place approximately around my dinner time. We have the Gifted versus Jaguar for a lightweight bout. Gabe Gifted Green was a Bellator star and found his way to the UFC in 2020. He's all about God, family, food, and fighting. Potentially in that order. I'm not sure. We'll have to ask him. He attacks all targets very effectively, like pretty much universally split. He'll hit the body, the legs, and the head all around, like 30% each. Very, very cool. He pretty much prefers to avoid the decision, likes to get his fights done via finish, And he's coming off of a TKO loss to Brian Battle. Not a great performance. It was not looking great. He's a subist, 55% of his wins, and he's never been subbed himself, so, a subist for sure. And we haven't seen him since 2023, so coming off of a bit of a yucky loss, haven't seen him in a while. This is going to be great to get him back in there. He's got a degree in economics, and we got to say, happy belated birthday. Made it around the sun another year. And he'll be going against Matthysse Camila, one of our young guns on the card. Jaguar, formerly Fury FC, making his UFC debut on a 6-fight win streak. Hello! And interesting thing to know about him is his only 2 losses are both via submission. He likes to get his wins any way that he can. So very, very diverse in his skill set. And he found fighting as a way to create life opportunities. So he was seeing people creating better lives for themselves with fighting. And he said, hey, maybe I can create a better life for myself. Currently, he's unaffiliated as far as we know. And he has the empty image on him. So really making his way, not just because he's making his debut, but we don't even have his picture up on the website. And like his opponent, Jesus is the way, the path, and the life. They both are devout Christians, fighting for God. Then we have a very exciting featherweight bout between Juicy J and Matthysse, both making a pretty quick turnaround. Julian Juicy J Arosa just fought 1 month ago, almost to the day, at UFC 314, but he got a pretty speedy TKO win over Darren Elkins in round 1, so, not too much damage taken, but I would say a couple shots at least, but we really got to see his very violent creativity. He is a total veteran, tough 22, and he has had to make his way back to the UFC 3 times at this point. 3 times! So, wow. He went to be a cage sport champion in both feather and lightweight. I mean, this guy has amassed a very impressive collection of accomplishments. He was almost the Cage Warriors champion. If you have seen his fight against Petty, that is an absolute war. And Petty, vomited right afterwards. So, yeah, Julian really put him through the ringer. And he is, in his mind, he is looking for the finish every single second of every single round. That is totally how he lives his fight life. That is how his mind is working in the octagon. That is what you'll see. And you'll see a lot of that violent creativity coming out as he is constantly searching for the finish. He is looking for your neck as well. So not just in his powerful hands, but he is looking for the neck, looking to get that darts, looking to get that ghillie. Absolute subson. He has never been subbed himself. We have ghillie written twice here because at one point he got 3 in a row. He is on a 3-fight win streak, and he's a husband, a dad, who transitioned to fighting from being a skateboarder. He'll be representing Extreme Couture. He'll be going against Matthysse, slightly younger, who was chilling at LFA before he made his way to the UFC, who's coming off of a decision win, pretty dominant decision win over C-Rod, but previously before then, and more significantly, he is coming off of a submission win over Andre Fili. He made really quick work of him just within round 1, and that's Andre Fili's first ever submission loss in the UFC. So that's a pretty big deal. And he is currently riding a 3-fight win streak, gaining some major momentum. He's a real quirky guy. He's a sub mixed submarine, very subby, obviously, but he really gets his wins in every way. I.e. the dominant decision win against C-Rod. He's a very deep human being, very sweet guy, very reflective person. And he's got really fun hair. These are both some quirky, crafty, violently creative gentlemen who have some really strong submission game. That's the thing about these two guys, is they are sticky subbers, and that is where both of their strengths lie. So we could see a battle of the roll, some very, very technical grappling, or we could see them ditch the grappling altogether in favor of keeping it in the hands and removing that that variable entirely. Either way, it's going to be exciting. There is hardly a fight these guys are in that isn't exciting. Both fighters have been looking really good recently, and this is going to be potentially the fight of the night. Could be. Then we have the Translator versus Black in a middleweight matchup. Dustin Stolfus is a pretty interesting fellow. Who comes from the Dana White's Contender Series, having a bit of a rough go in the UFC 3-5, but never too late to turn it around. He is someone who found his way to MMA through kickboxing first, but now has a BJJ black belt, very well rounded. He also has a Luta liver black belt, livery. I don't even know what that is, but he has that too. His wins are evenly split, so he definitely diversifies it out there, and he is coming off of a pretty powerful win against Marc-Andre Barriault, who we just saw cause some really devastating violence. Anyway, that was over in November, so this is a pretty perfect timeline, fighting about every 6 months, looking to keep it a healthy level of active. And interesting thing about Dustin is he's gone win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, maybe one less of those, but he's been going back and forth, back and forth. So if you're superstitious, since he's coming off of the win, that whatever that means to you. And he's got a master's in translation. So he went to school in Germany as well. And not only did he do that, but he evolved his German education so much so to where he actually works freelance as a translator. So he can translate works from German to English. That is very, very cool. And really, it's a more useful skill than you might anticipate. I was actually really interested in reading a book the other week, and it only exists in German. So I need Dustin, specifically. He also keeps himself grounded through a variety of other hobbies like cycling and yoga, so really taking care of his body. He'll be going against Nursultan Ruziboev, who it seems that the UFC has been trying to propel upwards. He is coming from ACB to the UFC in 2023. He's representing both Uzbekistan and Phillies. That's a fun combo. And he's definitely living in the world of the finish on both ends. But he's a short notice gamer, so we love to see that. You can count on him to pick up the phone and say yes. And when you see him out there, he'll be having Kimuras on his mind. He's kind of finding his way. He's, competed at both middle and welterweight, so wherever the call comes, and he's not exactly hasn't been exactly clear on where he has found his home, whether it be middle or welterweight. But right now we are middleweights. He's shined pretty big with his last performance with a vicious knockout in Seattle. He's very tall. He's like 6'5" or something like that. Really big, tall dude, looking to use his length for sure, and always looking for the finish. Gotta vote for Dustin just because we gotta see that curse break, and because having a master's in translation is very interesting and cool. Then we have an unexpectedly lightweight belt, both men moving up a weight class. What is going on? Super is going against the legend. So Sadiq Youssef is one of two men who are moving up for this fight. So he typically fights at featherweight. He is 31, almost 32. Happy early birthday, 5/19. So fighting pretty close to celebrating. So just because it's his birthday, I gotta admit I'm really hoping that he's gonna pick up that win so we can do some fair celebrating afterwards on the Monday. He comes from the Dana White's Contender Series and made his way to the UFC in 2018, so it's kind of like a Dana White's Contender Series spokesman, one of the spokespeople for the success, because he has done quite well, especially the competition that he's faced. A lot of pretty stiff competition. He's not much of a subber, one win and nay a loss, so just kind of avoiding the world of grappling, trying to pop back up as quick as he can if he gets taken down. He's very, very punchy in general, heavy hands, setting up the combos, all that stuff. Super. He is on a 2-fight losing streak, but again, to some serious competition. Diego Lopez, I don't know why it says Lopos. I don't know who that is. That's whatever. It's supposed to say Diego Lopez and Edson Barbosa. Lots of high-level dudes. He's really into anime, and he actually credits anime as a big reason to why he got into fighting, like seeing all those battle scenes. So, he's a dreamy kind of guy. He's a big creative. And he's really funny. He's kind of an expert at finding your celebrity lookalike. So if you ever meet him in real life, ask him who you look like. I'm not, there's no guarantee you're going to like the answer, but he can provide that for you. And I just wanted to include that really cute picture of him and Andre Feely as well as Dan Ige, because that is such a power team right there. And a testament to the confusion of why is this a lightweight fight? I don't know this. If you do, let me know. He'll be going against Marion Santos, the legend, another youngster. We got a lot of youngsters on the card. LFA on UFC. He's new to the UFC, making his way, coming off of a split decision war in March against Fire Marshall. And he actually thought he didn't even win that fight. He's humble enough to say it. He's new to fatherhood, so some snaps and claps for being a dad. And he is 0% sub. So we have two, very non-subbers going against each other, looking to keep it on the feet. Naya win, Nora loss in that category. And his lone loss is via TKO in round 3. So definitely has a bit of durability. 15-1 is super solid. I mean, he is on the rise with the 5-fight win streak, and he prefers to find the finish himself. They give Sadiq Youssef 2 veterans. It doesn't work out. Let's give him an up-and-comer, see if he can stay afloat. This is a pretty technical striking matchup. Really, really exciting to see what these guys are going to do on the feet. It's going to be wild. It's going to be violent. I can't wait. This is a really exciting one. And that brings us to our co-main event, Trator versus Bearju, light heavyweight. Rodolfo Bellato is on his way after being an LFA champ and then Dana White's Contender Series redemption man. Had to do it a few times. He's got 2 appearances. This will be his 3rd appearance in the UFC. He is living in that TKO space. He is not lost via sub or decision, but has lost via TKO. So live in TKO, not just producing them, but sometimes achieving them. Anyway, he is very clinchy. So you will see a lot of knees from this big man. He will be bouncing those knees off of your face, coming off of a majority draw with Jimmy Crute. That was a really strange fight. I mean, the first round was like a 10-8. Like, Rodolfo looked pretty, but then he came back, made it a war. He was actually the replacement fighter, so got to give him some snaps for that. And he has survived and come back from several beatings. His fight in UFC Austin in 2023, same thing. He looked dead, sprung back to life. He is a life springer. Cama. He has learned fighting to fight bullies. So that's what brought him to fighting. Sweet man. Lots of powerful diggy knees. On his way up. He is going against Paul Bearju Craig, who is definitely a legend. Bama champ, UFC 2016. So, it's almost been 10 years. And a lot of people believe that he might be on the tail end of his career. Hasn't been looking super... hasn't been looking the way that he did in 2017. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, coming off of a pretty lull decision loss to Bo Nickel, who we just saw get destroyed by RDR. So, that ages poorly even more so. Yeah, but what we know Paul Craig for is for being a submarine, for being a choker specifically, very much so into the chokes. But he is a subby guy in general. He is purely a finisher. So Paul Craig has never won a decision fight, and 11 of his finishes come in round 1. So a very early man. He's an early man. If he makes it happen, it's often early. He's got a kung fu background, kung fu style. He loves black and white. That's pictured above. He just loves black and white. I don't know. That's how he gets artsy. He's charismatic. He's got a podcast that he hosts with fellow fighter Ross Cooper called Leathered. Interesting name. Kind of sounds like it could be something else. Let me know if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, he's been blonde lately. Have you seen that? He's blonde. I'm not sure what that means. Could be good, could be bad. Yeah. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is his hero. That's a weird hero. Haven't heard that one. Not like that's not a good person to be your hero. Good or bad. Kind of neutral. Huh. The easy diagnosis for this fight is that if it goes to the mat, that's Paul Craig's world. But he hasn't been looking his Paul Craig self. I think that it might be the tail end of the career at this point. Yeah, and what we know Rodolfo Bellato for is being a zombie, coming back to life after getting hurt. I think that if he can just put the pressure on this one, keep it standing based on how Paul Craig has been doing lately, he should be able to get the win. This is one of the many fights on this card that is a veteran versus an up-and-comer. Rodolfo Bellato, 8 years younger than Paul Craig. So I think that should play a definite role. Very curious to see what happens here because I'm really not sure where this one's going to end up. If it stays on the feet, if we roll around, I'm hoping that it will be exciting. And I hope Paul Craig jumps back in it, and he looks like his 2017 self. Maybe. Because, even though the last appearance from Paul Craig wasn't super solid, his previous losses were getting knocked out by Caio Borralho, who we know is very powerful, and then being submitted by Brendan Allen, who is one of the best submitters in the division, in the UFC, potentially. So, I want to give Paul Craig his grace, and I want to hope for something big. Then we make it to our main event, Durinho versus Spidey, a welterweight with a top 10 spot on the line. Another veteran versus up-and-comer. Gilbert Burns, Durinho, little tough guy. His big brother is big tough guy, if you're wondering why he's little tough guy, even though he's not so little. That's why. Gilbert is such a legend, being an international champion, being in the UFC for over 10 years and have amassed a 15-8 record, so solid, done so well for himself, has been circulating at the top for a long time now. And even though he's at a 3-fight losing streak right now, it's pretty important to do our investigating on exactly what those loses looked like. So in order from the furthest in the past to the most recent, he lost to Bilal, who we know is an incredible grinder, was our champion. Then he lost to JDM, who is our champion now. And then he lost to Sean Brady. That's all good. Let's not forget he was not steamrolled in any of these losses. He had his moments in all of these fights. I think Sean Brady did pretty good enacting his game plan, and Jack was injured, and so that was a big part of the issue as well. But be that as it may, Gilbert has always performed. He is a submarathon. He's been in the game this long and has never been submitted and is primarily getting the submission win himself, though he's also known for his powerful hands. Gilbert Burns has put a lot of people to sleep and has made a lot of them look catatonic. Yes, he is absolutely willing to go to war. That fight against Chimaev, etc. I mean, there's a million fights you can point to, but that is a really great fight to point to because, a lot of people with Chimaev, frightening, is he human, I think. And the Gilbert Burns fight is the fight where you think to yourself, he bleeds. Gilbert Burns has always done that for us. He's always put people in a position that makes them look human. That's what we love about Gilbert Burns. He seriously can win in every way. He is so smart and so tough. He is one of those people who really is like very, 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 very deep, very sound, a sweetheart, very peaceful, but is so violent in that octagon, and you can see the durability in his eyes. It's not a frantic energy. He's composed, he's calculated, he's tough. Yes, and he mixes it. He gets at least one takedown on every opponent. I don't know if it's still true. I think it's true. Gilbert Burns has taken down every opponent that he's fought, at least nearly all of them. He is a takedown connoisseur while still being known for that reputation with that power. And in this case, with that number 8 spot and being the veteran at the age of 38, he's playing the gatekeeper. And he's cool with that. He's cool with it. It doesn't bother him, when he's asked about it. He's fine. I mean, especially after being on a 3-fight losing streak, he's aware that he's got to do some proving again. He's a Jesus follower, a husband, a dad, a fighter. Gilbert Burns, Gilbert Durinho, what a absolute classic here to defend the top 10 position. These are some high stakes. And he is going against one of my favorites, if not my favorite rising star, Michael Morales. Only 25 years old, but he fights like he has been in the game much longer than that. Okay, let's just say that. Dana White's Contender Series is where we found him. We picked him up in 2022, and he has been undefeated 5-0 in the UFC. So the thing about Michael is he's actually a national wrestling champion, but he just kind of keeps that in his back pocket. So in his fights, you will see oftentimes he will get at least one pretty significant slam style takedown. Doesn't turn anything into sort of submission threat, but that comes from that wrestling background. This is seriously Michael's chance to propel. So a lot of people have had their eyes on Mikey Morales because he has been phenomenal in all 5 of his UFC fights and his Dana White's Contender Series appearance. But this is his first ever main event. So he's been on the main card, but this is his first ever main event, his first ever chance to top the crack 15 with a crack at the top 10 and against a legend like Gilbert Burns, whose name carries so much in the sport. It really does. It's because he is coming off of a very interesting win against Neil Magny. So Neil Magny had Michael up against the fence, was getting very clinchy with it. You know how Magny is. He's a clinchman. And in the act of creating space, Michael finds an elbow and it is just lights out. It is insane. And that is kind of the story of Michael. He reminds me a lot of Miles Morales. Their names are almost the same. Okay, that's funny. And we have proof that he's a fan. You know, you see him pictured in the shirt, but he also actually did Spider-Man nails one time. I think in the Magny fight, he had Spider-Man nails. So he's definitely a fan, so I think he's cool with that. Cool with Spidey being his nickname. And yeah, he's rolling in with the curse and the gift of being undefeated at a whopping 17-0, and 5 of those being in the UFC. I really think that he has everything. You know, he primarily is a finisher, but he's not one of those people that needs to get it done in round 1 that is just like thirsting with their power, you know, like just like running forward and trying to connect with those heavy hands. He is such a patient fighter, and his instincts kick in so effectively when he does see that he's caused damage. He is aware of that. He isn't just blindly bulldozing forward. He's really in there and he's watching. He's looking properly for the signs for when it is time to attack. He's very, very long, and he keeps things long. So he's a long guy, and he fights really long with the jab, always pushing that distance. He is so back and forth. He's really effective on his back foot, which is so exhausting for the other person who's constantly on the chase. So he is a youthful guy at the young age of 25, but is fighting so patient. It's phenomenal to see, which is why a lot of people are really hyped and why he's landed at this challenge. In my opinion, why they're giving him a crack at the top 10 right away is he is shown to be a very mature fighter. His fighting style is very mature. He's throwing in uppercuts on the sneak. I am loving that. He is having fun in there. You see him Superman punching off of the cage. I've seen him do that in multiple fights. There are so many people in the top 15, in the top 25 even, that have that championship material. They're cut from that cloth. I really believe that Michael Morales is for real, and this is going to be that test. If he can put on the dominant performances that he has put on against his other opponents, who are no scrubs, okay, that will mean so much. That will mean so much on how legit Michael Morales is. He is so legit, and I really want, if he is able to get this win, I would really love if they give him the Machado Gary matchup. He wants that fight. Think that would be so genius. Those are 2 people who are the future. Okay, one of them's named the future, but they're both the future of the sport, of the welterweight division. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about that later, because Gilbert Burns is no small feat. He is by far the biggest feat that Michael Morales has had to contend with. This is going to be really, really exciting. I'm really excited that it's happening not too late, because I have to admit it was hard to stay awake last weekend, as it often is for me on the pay-per-views. So I'm excited to get a little break in the daytime, but more importantly, I'm excited to see who I think might be my favorite rising star on the men's side, Michael Morales. I think that this fight is going to be incredible. It obviously has so many implications It's got to be the fight I'm looking forward to most. It's tied with Julian Rosa and Melky Costa because those guys are just such fun little quirksters. Got a lot of really great fights on this card. Which one are you most looking forward to? And are you with me that if Michael Morales gets this win, they got to put him against Machado Gary? Let me know. Let me know anything else. Here is our song, I guess, of the week to get us prepped. Song of the day, song of the week to get us prepped up for the fight. Just a fun little jam. Link is also in the description. Everyone, you are all so wonderful. Appreciate you and your comments and your interaction. I really like to hear everybody's thoughts on the fights. So much at play every week. So let me know all your thoughts and whatever else. Boo, Apex. Come on.